everyone. Welcome to Life in Business, the podcast I started just a little bit ago. And today I am so excited to have Michal with me. Literally, Michal, I've been waiting for a while to interview you. I've just, we worked together for a little while, and just the short time that we were together, I just gained a huge level of respect for you. Your work ethic is great. You're a hard worker, and you just have a good outlook on life. So thank you for coming on. I appreciate it.
Thank you so much for inviting me. I'm excited to be here.
Good deal. Well, let's jump right in. Your story, as I've heard it, has been like the parts don't seem to go together. Would that be way off base?
That's fair to say.
Okay, good deal. And I mean it in a very good way. It's just like you'll say something and I'll be like, "What, you did what?" Or, so we'll get into that as we go. But let's just start off, just tell me kind of, even early on, like how where you were raised, that kind of stuff, and where at and all that. And we'll kind of get going.
Yeah, definitely. Well, my name is Michal Emily Schuster. I was raised in Eastern Washington on a 5th-generation family wheat farm and cattle ranch. So that was my background, my introduction to the world. Like you said, that work ethic was something that was drilled into me from an early age. I have a ton of fond memories from growing up on the farm, doing 4-H and FFA, and yeah, I got my first job when I was 11. Which was brilliant because that set me up really for paying my way through college, graduating college debt-free, which kind of opened the world to me at that point as a 22-year-old. And that's where I think Dave's talking about the plot twists and the things that don't really make a lot of sense, because coming from, a landlocked small town of 500 people, as I graduated college and started looking out into the world and the things that I wanted to do, adventure was at the top of my list.
Yeah.
And I got an invitation to move onto a small sailboat owned by a friend of mine and cruise to the Bahamas for the winter of, it was 2017, 2018 when I first got on the boat. And
Hey, can we back up just super quick?
Yeah.
Because the first twist for me was, we're working together, and I have this charity golf tournament. I'm like, someone told me, Bailey said, "Oh, hey, Michal golfs," and so I was like, "Hey, well, that's cool." And so I knew that you were, you were raised on a farm and a small town and all of that. And I was like, "Oh, can you golf?" And then I went golfing with you, and it was like, holy buckets! You're not just a golfer. You're like borderline, like just below pro golfer. It was like, it's insane. And I was like, those were the first two pieces that didn't seem like they matched up. Is that because
fair enough.
Normally you don't have men, women, whatever from a small farm that grew up on a farm, and then they're like this expert golfer.
Yeah.
So so I just wanted to say, like, it wasn't just the transition to the sailboat thing. There was a few pieces that didn't seem like they clicked. So I apologize. So you graduated Whitworth, and we're back to your story. I'm sorry for interrupting.
Yeah. You're right. I skipped over a detail, though, because it was 4-H and FFA, and it was golf. I was obsessed with golf from 8 to 20, basically. So I was like 12 years of my life was really dedicated to this sport. That's what I wanted to spend all my time doing. My dad is really into golf, as so many of our dads are, I feel like, and he was looking for something to do with his daughters. It's me and my older sister that didn't involve working on the farm, some way that we could spend time together that was fun and he would enjoy, so he was hoping to pass that love onto us, and he absolutely did. And I don't know if he quite anticipated me to take to it as much as I did, but I really fell in love with the game, spent summers, driving tractor, pulling rocks out of fields for work, and then on the weekends I would be driving to golf tournaments all over Spokane, North Idaho. So
yeah, that's crazy. 50-something years old, and I've played golf for a long time, and I haven't figured it out yet. So I don't know if there's hope for me.
Maybe 10 years, 4 hours a day.
There we go.
What it takes, I don't know. But I did end up getting to play golf at Whitworth, which was a huge goal of mine in high school. Just looking for somewhere to play. and continue my love of the game into college. But then I kind of had that wake-up call that was like, golf has been my passion. It's been my thing for so long.
Yeah.
But as you're a young adult coming of age in your early 20s and you're kind of looking at what your life could be and moving on and taking your place in the world, I started to realize that golf just wasn't going to have that fulfillment for me that I was looking for. I was like, even if I go pro at this, I just don't know that it's quite going to fulfill me. I'm quite going to feel like I'm in my purpose doing this. So I kind of started to expand my viewpoint at that point in time. I bounced around from a lot of different majors. I really didn't know what exactly I wanted to be doing. I was always drawn to writing as a kid. I did a ton of reading growing up, just always had my nose in a book, kept a lot of journals. So in the back of my mind, I was like, well, journalism or something, journalists make crap money. Not sure if that's the path. I thought, health sciences, but that didn't really stick. And eventually I just landed in business, as I feel like we often do going into our junior year. And it's like, you got to pick something if you want to graduate.
Yeah.
So choose something at that point. So I got my business degree with a finance emphasis. But as I was kind of coming down the line of that and looking at where this was leading me, it was like, well, I'm going to be in a cubicle, staring at a computer screen, crunching numbers on a spreadsheet, and that's going to be my life. And that did not sit with me well either.
From the little that I know, that doesn't seem like that would fit.
No, I love being outside. I love being active. And in college was where I really got to go on some adventures with the university rec department, mountain biking, hiking, ultra day hikes, backpacking trips down into the Grand Canyon. So I got to do some of those things in school, and I loved this kind of just exploring the world with your home on your back, right? You've got your backpack, you've got everything that you need. So that planted the seed, and I had met a couple friends from working summers in college in Coeur d'Alene, caddying at the Coeur d'Alene Resort. So I had some friends there who had bought a sailboat and who had decided that they were gonna sail the world and live for adventure, and that sounded like just about the coolest thing that you could do to me.
That's pretty cool. Kind of freaky though.
Yeah, but in my mind it's like, wait, you can do that? Who does that? Who just like buys a sailboat and sails away and lives, I don't know how you live, but somehow you find a way and you're exploring the world, and it just sounded like the ultimate adventure to me.
That's a pretty big adventure.
Yeah. So I had these 3 friends that were doing it, and they started a YouTube channel, and I was kind of following along with them doing that. In the back of my mind, I'm like, okay, I'm not sure that I'm ready to get my own sailboat and do that, but what's the next thing? Well, van life was becoming really popular in 2017, 2018. So as I'm preparing to graduate college, I was graduating debt-free. So I wasn't having that pressure of like, you need the internship, you need the job, you need to sell your soul to go crunch numbers on a spreadsheet and work in a finance department. So I had the option to look for something that was going to be more fulfilling for me. And I thought, I needed to buy a van, I needed to live in a van, I needed to travel North America, I needed to climb mountains, I needed to, embrace my passion for writing and do something with that. So that's what I was going for. I was literally about to buy the van, like a weekend in November, when I get a call from one of my friends on the boat. And by this time, 2 of the others have decided they're done with the boat adventure, so he's the only one still on the boat. And we're just catching up. He's wondering what I have going on, what I have planned, and then he throws out there the fact that he's sailing to the Bahamas in January and could use some crew, could use some help if that was something that I would be interested in. And my adventurous heart could not say no to something like that. And with that, he's building a YouTube channel. He offers me the opportunity to do a blog, develop my passion for writing and storytelling, and promises me that there will be no end to exciting content to write about.
There you go.
So that really sweetens the deal, and I said yes, and I moved onto the sailboat and ended up spending almost 5 years
A long trip to Bahamas.
living on the sailboat, traveling. So the first season was the Bahamas.
Okay.
We made it to the Dominican Republic. Keep in mind, I have basically no sailing experience. I mean, I've done a little bit of lake sailing here in Coeur
Yeah.
d'Alene. That's it. He is also from Spokane, Eastern Washington. Spent a lot of time on land, not sailing. So he has some experience more than I do, not much. Neither one of us have any
my
idea what we're
goodness.
doing, and we're out here in the middle of the ocean, essentially. I mean, yeah, sailing around, navigating weather, realizing that 90% of sailing is actually sailboat maintenance. So you got to be mechanically inclined, you got to be electrically inclined, you have to know how things work and how to fix
Yeah,
them.
I'd be stuck.
It was intense.
Now, I actually can't even imagine. That is crazy. So I thought, like, even up till now, I thought that you got on the boat and this person was like a sailor, like very, very experienced sailor. And
No.
oh my goodness.
And my poor parents, because you're a parent, so I want to paint this
Dude.
picture for you.
Yeah, you're not. I mean, you're similar age to my oldest daughter. Dude, I'd be freaking out, man.
Yeah. They stuck their foot in their mouths so badly because there was a point in college where I was just really lost. I didn't want to get the finance degree. I didn't want to continue down this path. I was in a tough spot. I was pretty depressed. I was skipping classes. I was like a straight A student all growing up until I'm in this last semester of my senior year and I'm just looking at the writing on the wall of where I'm going and realizing I don't want to go here and just feeling stuck and lost and overwhelmed. So we had a lot of hard conversations, my mom, my dad, and I. And they said, you need to get this degree, like just finish what you started, and we can support anything that you want to do after you get this degree. As long as you finish this commitment, anywhere you want to go from here.
Little did they know.
We'll support you. And little did I know at that point
yeah.
what was coming. Yeah, so they didn't have much of a choice after that, but to just kind of
Well, they can't really come out to the middle of the ocean and get you.
Nope, and I had my own money, so it's not like I needed them to help buy the ticket, so I was just gone.
Oh.
That's a crazy place to be in, just picturing what I put them through,
Yeah,
especially in that first year. Because my mom actually has some sailing experience, quite a bit actually. She grew up in Portland, Oregon, and her family raced sailboats on the weekend. Yeah,
Okay.
She knew quite a bit, and I remember, I think it was over Thanksgiving, she got on the phone with this guy who I was meeting up with just to kind of be like, what's going on? What do you know? My daughter's flying down to meet you to sail off into the unknown. And I don't think that was a reassuring call for her whatsoever because she's like...
Yeah, if she's a sailor, she probably could tell pretty quick that...
He doesn't know much.
Oh my goodness. Dude, I can't even imagine. But so you got into kind of into that business side. You got into, were you doing the work for the YouTube channel right away, or how'd that work? Because that's kind of a fascinating story.
Yeah, and that was like one of the biggest things that I took away from the whole experience was all of the skills gained from that, from actually building an online business on social media that ultimately, it took a couple years to get the traction going, but ultimately allowed me to travel full time, live on the sailboat full time. That was the main source of income. He had started the YouTube channel and, had some followers, had, 30 videos out, some traction going with that when I jumped in. So I jumped in and started helping with the filming. I started writing blogs. He was the main editor of the videos. And where I kind of found my niche with it all was making the titles and the thumbnails and doing the marketing of the episodes and growing the social media presence on all the other platforms and all of that. A lot of writing went into that. Yeah, I wasn't an extremely confident, outgoing person, especially coming from like that little dark hole of depression that I was in late in college. So going to speak on camera, going to broadcast my thoughts and my feelings and my experiences out there was a huge hurdle for me going into that. And I knew that that's what I was signing up for, but that alone was just something that I'm so grateful for.
Yeah.
In terms of like putting in the work to gain the confidence in myself. And
Yeah.
it was awful. As anyone who's ever started filming themselves for the first time can attest, watching yourself and your facial expressions and listening to your voice is one of the worst things in the world. So
I just got in, I just started this podcast because I love, and you probably, know this from just knowing me for as little as you have, but I love hearing people's stories. And I love especially the mindset that goes into someone becoming an entrepreneur, someone saying, you know what, I see it, why can't I do that?
Yeah.
And I mean, I see that in you, like even when you were kind of between things, and when I met you, I was like, okay, this, I was kind of sad because I was like, I have this incredible employee and I know she's leaving me very soon because I knew you were, there was just, doing what you're not, and nothing's wrong with working at a coffee shop. I mean, that's what I do. So hopefully nothing's wrong with that. But I just knew that there was something that, like you were doing something different than that. And so, man, that's so incredible and says a lot about you. Like, okay, I don't know how to sail. I'm not really that great, or not, I'm sure you were totally great, but not real comfortable in front of the camera.
not great, not comfortable, none of it.
And it was probably, what I'm hearing is, maybe even a little bit of a fear. And it's like, you know what? I don't care. I'm doing it. And that's so cool. I mean, and this is what this show is about. It's just seeing people conquer those fears, uncomfortableness, all the stuff, because what they want to do requires it.
Yeah.
And so you do it. So keep going, man.
Yeah.
I'm just like sitting here like listening and watching, and hopefully, like I can learn something that I can do.
I think the ultimate hack to doing things that you're scared to do, that you don't know how you're going to do until you're doing them, is putting yourself in that situation where you really don't have a choice.
Absolutely.
And that was what I signed up for. It was like, well, I'm going to be making YouTube videos. I'm going to be writing blogs because I agreed going into this that that's what I was coming here to do. So I didn't have any choice. I kind of boxed myself in, but that's how I made it happen. So you kind of have to hack your accountability in that way.
I couldn't agree more. That is so well said. I know for me, I thought about this podcast for about a year and a half. And it was just like, okay, well, I'll get this figured out, do this. Until I said, dude, I have a podcast. Okay, I didn't have a podcast.
Yeah.
And so I get like, some of my first guests, I was like, hey, do you want to come on my podcast? They go, you got a podcast? Yeah.
I do now.
I go, I don't have any listeners, and I don't have any episodes, and we haven't actually had a recording yet, but man, it's going to be awesome. And people were like, dude, I'm in, man. Sign me up. And so that's the deal. I had to basically become a podcaster before I was a podcaster to do the thing. And man, I had this one guest that was like, how did you learn how to do it? I go, dude, I have no idea what I'm doing. I'm just, I turn the camera on, I try to get people to help me do editing and all this stuff, and I'm, even in whatever it is, six weeks or so that I've been doing it, 8 weeks, it's like the learning curve is so high, and then the more you know, the more you realize, dude, I don't know anything about this. So yeah, I totally agree with what you said. Sometimes you just have to, I've done, a few years ago, I've done 2 Ironmans. And how I did them wasn't like, oh my goodness, I did this incredible thing. I signed up and then I told people I'm running Ironman. And it was just pure, I didn't want to be embarrassed. And I didn't want to have to go to people and say, oh dude, I quit. I got too tired.
Yeah.
I just realized I couldn't do it. It was the fear of failure that made me do it. But I had to sign up.
Yeah.
And you pay like all this money. And I was like, man, I'm doing Ironman. I'm in. So
I think that is so underrated. People talk about, going after your goals and like achieving your dreams.
Yes.
And it's just as valuable to know what you're running from, and even if that's just the embarrassment of I told people I was going to do this thing, so I better show up and do this thing or else I'm going to feel like an idiot. And that is so motivating and so powerful. It is.
But it was the signing up before and basically saying, oh yeah, I'm doing Ironman. And I just told people. And so I didn't really have a choice.
Yeah.
So what you're saying is putting yourself in the situation man, that is valuable, great information that I think everybody should, you're afraid of something, just stick yourself in it.
Say yes.
Yeah.
Tell people that you're doing it.
Yeah, and so you fail. Big deal. Get back up and do it again, I've got a friend who failed, but didn't come finish his Ironman. And immediately after Ironman was over, he signed up again.
See?
And he's done like 3 now. And it was just this whole idea of, what, I'm not a quitter. I'm not a failure.
Yeah.
I can do this. And so, good stuff. So so you're on.
Okay.
You went to the Bahamas.
I'm on the boat. I'm in the Bahamas.
Yes.
Realizing how much I don't know about the boat and what it takes to get a boat capable of sailing offshore and cruising, and realizing that so many things need to be done to the boat that I was sailing on. So getting to the Dominican Republic was like this Hail Mary kind of, we've made it sort of thing.
Yeah.
Money was running out. The boat was breaking down all over the place. But the Dominican Republic has a perfect little hurricane hole, because that's always in the back of your mind. It's like, hurricane season's coming.
Yeah.
Where am I going to be? Where's the boat going to be? Are we going to be safe? And it's very, very cheap to live there. So that, like, season 1 was just like this amazing catastrophe of things breaking down, going wrong, but made it to the Dominican Republic, where we could fly out, get seasonal work, make some money, and go back to the boat to work on the boat to fix all these things that really needed to be addressed with the boat. That turned into like 2 years in the Dominican Republic working on the boat.
Okay.
That also got into COVID, locked down, couldn't leave. And that actually ended up being a beautiful thing. You talk about putting yourself in a situation where you've got to make something happen. That was it. So that next summer that came around, we're planning on flying out in 2020, or it would have been the summer after, actually. Anyway, flights got canceled. Couldn't come back to the US, right? All this time, we've been making videos, I've been writing, we've been growing the brand, growing
the YouTube channel's
channel.
still
It's still
functioning.
chugging along.
Yep.
Yeah, and when you have if anybody is a vlogger or a YouTuber out there, you know that when everything goes wrong and everything breaks down and you're like at the end of your rope is the exact moment that the cameras need to be rolling, because that is the golden content. So hauling the boat out in the boatyard, getting it out of the water, taking a look at the keel, the rudder, the propeller, we had some major problems going on with the boat. But we filmed all of that, and that video went viral for us and kind of skyrocketed the viewership. It skyrocketed the membership, which is how we were monetizing the YouTube channel. So we go from like, oh my God, we don't have enough money to fix this, to all of a sudden the channel's growing and we're seeing more money coming in. And it's like, okay, wow, we've just stumbled onto something. So we just keep uncovering all of these problems, and videos are doing well. We're making more money, which was just perfect divine timing, because we couldn't fly back during COVID to do the seasonal work that had been keeping us going. And it was at that point that the business actually took off and became our sole source of income. Again, living in the Dominican Republic, where it's very, very cheap to live, helped a ton. So that was sort of that time, 2020, 2021, where everything took off and started working out for us with the online business, which was amazing. And then we got the boat fixed in better shape than she was in, as good as a couple amateurs could possibly do.
Yeah.
And started traveling again in 2021. And yeah, the relationship was good. I will say that. It was a good, healthy relationship. But as I was growing and maturing from a 22-year-old to a 25-year-old to ultimately when I was 27 is when I ended the relationship and stopped sailing and traveling on the boat and being a part of that online business, I just changed a lot, and what was important to me changed a lot. What I was looking for in a partner changed a lot, because the kind of wild, adventurous soul that I was in my early 20s was thinking about babies and family by the time I was 27, and sort of evaluating the situation that I was in terms of, is this going to be the right fit for me to...
So this sailing situation, that evolved into a relationship?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. So that was, okay, and when you're talking about this, my mind couldn't help it go back to, you're stuck in the Dominican Republic for 2 years. The dad part of me is like, dude, what are your parents doing? Are they freaking out? Because I'd be like, dude, I don't know what I would do.
They actually came and visited.
Okay.
In late 2018, they came for Christmas. So my mom and my dad, my sister and her boyfriend, who's now her husband, visited us for a week in the Dominican Republic, which was amazing. They got to see how I was living, what we were doing, and I think for them, they were such troopers. It was just kind of like a never again sort of thing for them, because, you know, it's a developing country. Yeah. It's not your typical vacation when you're in a rural seaside
5-star hotel.
No 5-star hotels.
With
maybe
steak
not
and
even
lobster
any
for dinner.
hot water in the Airbnb. But it was roughing it. Yeah. I mean, we rented out a house and we all stayed in a house and we had a great time. But yeah, just the typical amenities that we enjoy are not really a thing down there.
But
you know.
I have to think though, for your parents to, maybe they probably didn't love it and probably didn't schedule another vacation to the same spot. But I have to think that there probably was a part of them where was like, okay, you know what, Michael's okay. You know, I mean, she's not, you know, emaciated or dead or whatever.
They've been seeing videos.
I forgot about that. Okay. Yeah, they're probably like,
so they're keeping tabs. Yeah.
Checking it, like watching the video every day or whatever. Okay, yeah, that makes sense. Okay. That's cool. So, so how did this, tell me about this, the actual, just the business of the YouTube deal, because that, I mean, you said it's your sole source of income.
Yeah.
That takes, you know, that's basically what being an entrepreneur is. It's like, dude, I got to come up with a business that's going to be profitable. How did that work? How did you learn how to do all of that? What did you know before? Did you learn as you went? Did you watch YouTube videos?
Doing. Occasionally, watching YouTube videos. Okay, how do I do this edit that I want to do? How do I make a great thumbnail? So you're learning as you go along, but the key thing is learning by doing.
Yes.
Because you don't know something until you do it. So the absolute key of getting this business going was consistency. Putting out a video every single week at the exact same time, whether we felt like it or not. And so obviously that means that not everything that you put out is going to be something that you're obsessed with, that you're proud of. There's going to be some times where you hit publish and it's awful. You just want to bury your head in the sand because it's no good storyline, like the filming is crap, like it's just not a great representation of what you're capable of. But when you commit to that consistency, you're able to improve, optimize, and iterate. And that's what it's all about. And that's how you get better.
Improve, optimize, iterate. I'm not even taking notes because I'm trying to. I'm like, I kind of selfishly brought you on the show just so I could learn how to do this, do this stuff. But that's just, it's cool, and it is what an entrepreneur does. It doesn't matter what business you're in.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, your business, if you decide I'm going to, you know, make widgets, it's kind of like you have no idea that now I need to learn how to market them, how to hire people, fire people, do book work, do attorney work, janitor work, you know, like whatever. It's crazy. That's just how it works. So you go through all of that. Do you still do the station, or do you where's this at? What was this called?
It was called Bums on a Boat.
Bums on a Boat, okay.
So if anybody wants to, they can go look at the channel. My ex is still doing videos and putting stuff out. Because when I ended things, I just knew that I had a family to turn to. Like I had options. They have a farm. They had a place for me to stay, to go and do some work and get my feet under myself again. So, I mean, there was no discussion really. I just left him with the business, left him with the boat.
Okay.
I took the dog and I moved back to my parents' farm.
Okay.
And
so it's still going.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, there's over 220 episodes of me and my life from 2018 to 2022, end of 2020.
I think you've met them. I have friends that live here in Coeur d'Alene.
Yeah,
And I was telling them about, because they love to sail. Their like dream is to retire and live on a boat, I think.
Go cruising.
Like forever, I think, or 6 months a year. I don't know what it is, but it's something like that.
Yeah.
So I said, I have this lady that works for me, and she lived on a boat, and yada, yada, and they go, is that Bums on a Boat? And I didn't know. I was like, I don't know. And I told them about this story, and they go, that's her. And so I don't know if I think they were going to try to meet you. Or did you guys ever meet?
I saw Tanya at
Tanya, yeah.
event at the Croc Center randomly, and she knew me, and I was like, oh my gosh, hi. And I kind of recognized her because I'd seen her profile on Facebook and stuff in the pages and comments and whatnot. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's crazy. I mean, you're in the Bahamas.
I know.
Even though you were from here, there's no connection to here. And then there's people that I know that were like following you. So even if, I'm guessing, even if an episode that you didn't feel great about, you probably had people that were like, dude, I'm like, it's this time. Where's the episode?
Right? Just ready for Bums on a Boat. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, good deal. So you, so that kind of really got your, I want to say feet wet, because you're probably submerged in the online stuff. Yeah. Is that carried over to what you're doing now, or 100%. Talk to me about what you're doing now.
Yeah. So the YouTube channel was amazing because it gave me a ton of marketing experience. It gave me a ton of confidence and filming and being on camera. It taught me how to actually grow a brand by telling your story being one of the most compelling and important parts to brand building. I wrote a book along with that, so I was writing all these blogs and posts, so I wrote a book, published that while I was on the boat, and then writing that book was really that's what gave me a taste of the kind of impact that I could have on other people who were freedom seekers, entrepreneurial like me, and help them access the same level of freedom of living life on your own terms, of building an online business, and just making those dreams a reality by having that personal and financial freedom that allows you to go and do the things that you want to do. So off of that book, I developed a program where I taught other adventure seekers, other entrepreneurs, how to do a business based on YouTube, monetizing with a membership, and all of the brand building and marketing and network building that goes along with that.
What's the name of the book? I need to know. I need this book.
The name of the book is called The Art of Becoming.
The Art of Becoming.
So it was a collection of stories, short stories from the experience, and then lessons learned along with those stories, with some prompts and reflections for the readers to dive into. And so, I started with that program, which was called Adventure Blueprint for Creators, which was amazing. I launched that while I was still on the boat. 5 awesome clients in my first launch, which was like, holy cow, this is insane. I expected maybe I would launch something and there would be crickets, but no, people actually wanted it. And then it was in the rolling out of that program, coming to the end of 2022, that I realized I wasn't in the place that I needed to be anymore with that relationship. And the business and everything went along with that. So that's when I took a step back, worked on the family farm for about a year, kind of just got my bearings, because I had put everything into that business, into that adventure. I sold my car, I put all my savings into it, so I really was starting over from zero, but I did have all of that experience with me. So I knew, moving off of the farm, getting the job at LYFE, working some part-time serving jobs in Coeur d'Alene, that this is what I was moving towards. And I started being online again, started sharing stories and value and trainings with my audience, and building up my own business that way in the course of 2023. We're now towards the end of 2024, and now I'm on my own again, doing my coaching business and planning on writing another book, a full book this time, not just a PDF, but That's
super cool. So do you have, you said, you talk about your audience, you have a specific target audience you're trying to reach, or just any entrepreneurs, or What's your audience? Who's your audience?
Yeah, the big umbrella is like entrepreneurs and small business owners, my people. But specifically, like who I vibe with is women entrepreneurs in the creative space in particular. So women who like have an artistic sort of angle, writers, storytellers, graphic designers, anyone who's really in the artistic space, because that's what I really connect to, and that's the kind of people that I love working with. But yeah, I really believe in the impact that entrepreneurs and small businesses have on the world. And the theme of my journey this whole time was really, you know, coming from college, looking for my place in the world, the thing that I could offer
Yep.
that would be of value to other people, of value to the world at large. And the realization through all of that was like, oh my gosh, I'm a teacher. I'm meant to be here to experience these things, to live adventures, to gain the wisdom from those experiences, and then package it and share it with other people who can then also benefit from the lessons.
Absolutely, and it's so to me it's so like basic. It returns us back to how things I think were supposed to be. You talked about, you know, that you're doing something to provide value, and I think that when you boil life back to how it was supposed to be, let me do something that provides value to my community, and let me get something in return, either monetary or in trade or something. And everybody's doing that.
Yeah.
You know, everybody's figuring stuff out that's providing value to somebody else. And that's why I love all people, and entrepreneurship isn't for everybody, because there's a lot of stuff that goes with it.
It's the most confronting path that you can possibly walk.
And when you say, like, when you're like, hey, I'm in it, like, you were on the boat. It wasn't like at 5 you could go home. Your home is like, I don't know how big the boat was, but let's say it's 40 or 50 feet.
I'll paint a picture. It was 30 feet.
Yeah, okay, so 30 feet away.
Yeah.
That's as far as away as you can get.
In the cabin, like in the living space, of course you had benches and sleeping berths, but the flat surface area that you could stand up and walk around was just large enough for me to roll out my yoga mat and do a couple poses and exercises. So that's what we were working with, about 4 squares.
Yeah, so you're not, I mean, like, that's an entrepreneur that is like 24/7, 365. It's not like, but you know what, I think that a lot of entrepreneurs, and we're not all on a boat in the middle of the ocean, but it is what you are 24/7. I talk to entrepreneurs regularly that wake up at 1 in the morning with a new idea or a new thing, or realizing that they made a mistake on X, Y, whatever it is.
Yeah.
And it's something that just, like, you know, you don't have, it's really hard to turn off. And I think that's the struggle that I have, is just, you know, like, okay, working on the balance of everything, because it is hard to turn off when you think, oh, dude, I know I could do this better, or I know I could do this differently, or this idea wasn't profitable, I know that I need to, you know, make it good so it is, or whatever it is.
But let's be honest, if you weren't obsessing about how to better provide value to other people and how your business can more effectively solve the problems and help the people that it exists to solve, you'd be obsessing about something else. I think that's what's so core about the entrepreneur personality, is business is beautiful because it gives you an avenue to channel that in a hyper productive way. And yes, I hear you, there's room for balance and like family time and leisure time and all of that, but I just know from my own experience and from the entrepreneurs that I speak with and work with, like, you got to channel that energy in some way. And business is such a beautiful way to channel it, because you have to be solving problems that other people deem valuable, or else your business doesn't exist anymore. That's the only way that you stay in business, is by actually providing a service, a product, solving a problem. And to me, that's just so beautiful, and it gives me so much hope for the world, where it's like, this is what the free market promotes, you know?
Yes, that's
people
how it's supposed to be.
solving problems for other people. Gorgeous. I love it.
I know, it's supposed to be that way. And then for some reason we try to overcomplicate things. Yeah. And we try to make, you know, like, oh, well, I can, you know, there's so many things, so many businesses that exist. I shouldn't say so many, but there's a lot of businesses that exist that you look at them and they could be, I'm talking about like the giant businesses. They could be profitable, but then you think, man, if this business ceased to exist, I don't think anything changes. Like, I don't necessarily know that I don't necessarily know that they're solving world problems, rather than maybe they got into whatever, some system where they got a government contract, or some system where they, it's like they're living in the stream of things that figured something out. And that's when I'm talking about entrepreneurs. Obviously, there's some entrepreneurs that have created Elon Musk has created some pretty big things. Yeah. But I feel that understanding a relationship with the small business owners that are providing value to their community, whatever that community is. Right. And it can be big. I'm not just saying small things, but that's what I think. When I think of business being beautiful, that's what I think. Mm-hmm. It's like I solved a problem, or I provided value to make someone's situation better than it was before. That if my business ceased to exist, that people would be missing something. And that's, maybe I try to make things too grandiose, but that's what I love, is when I'm looking at businesses going, oh my goodness, that business owner has figured out a way to, and it could be anything. It could be, with food, how to make food better for you, or make it faster, or make it more efficient, or make it easier, or it could be, some product or something.
And even literally just the ambiance of a space. When I was working at LYFE, I can't tell you how many people came in and knew the place when it was under different ownership, and would just look around and be like, oh my God, I love what you're doing here. This is wonderful. And, they get a cup of coffee and they continue on with their walk or whatever they're doing. But that's a moment that somebody experiences in their day, where they look around and they're just in appreciation of their atmosphere and the energy and the vibe that's being created. And I believe that's how we change the world and make a difference in the world, is in tiny little moments like that. And the more of those that we create, the better.
I couldn't agree more. And I think for me, I see myself as an entrepreneur connector. And I appreciate you saying that, because I've tried to create a space where people can connect, where whether it be business, whether it be personal, whether it be, for whatever reason, but people can connect. And I'm a huge, I believe that life is a series of moments. Mm-hmm. That's a core belief of mine. And when we remember our life, we don't remember on the, such and such weekend of 2001, I think I did this. No, we remember moments where we were with somebody, or moments where we celebrated something, or moments when we saw something. And so I love creating moments, and we do the birthday parties and the memorials and the baby showers, and that's like, for me, when I see those things happening, I'm like, dude, I was a part of this moment for these people. And it's it's like, I got to figure out how to monetize that better. But man, that's the thing that I love. But that's the thing I love about entrepreneurs. I see so many really cool business people in our community, and even businesses that I don't go to. But I'm like, man, this is so cool for our community to have this, because there's a chunk of people, or there's a group of people that this is really helping, or that utilizes this, or it provides value to their life to make their life, just more meaningful, or more connected, or whatever. So you're doing, you're training people. I got off on a tangent. You're training people to basically be better entrepreneurs and learn how to do this stuff.
Yeah, and navigating, in particular, the online world and the social media world, because that is, 6-7 years from now, it's already happening, but it's just going to become even more important and even more prevalent to businesses, and the success of businesses is how well you portray your brand and your story and your mission and your values online through your portfolio, which is your Instagram profile, your YouTube channel, your whatever it looks like. But it's so important for businesses and entrepreneurial minded people creatives to have those skills to portray themselves how they want to be portrayed. You even talk about in the golfing world, someone like Bryson DeChambeau, who takes control of his own image by creating an extremely successful YouTube channel because he wasn't happy with the way that he was being portrayed by the media and allowing, like, you know, public relations to kind of shape him into this character where he's like, well, that's not exactly who I am. That's not exactly who I want people to think of me as. This is who I am. So that's just an example of what it's all about and what the potential is. It's like, you are not these 5 Yelp reviews, you know, 3 of which are 5 stars, 2 of which are 0 stars. Like, that doesn't capture what you do as a business, right? And we all have the power and the capability to take our stories into our own hands. And so that's what I'm really inspired to help other people do with my knowledge and experience in there.
Yeah, that's super cool. And I think it's like, for people, you know, in my age demographic that don't know anything about all this, like, I'm learning all this stuff, I would say even daily, just because it's just so foreign. I was never raised with this stuff. I never did this stuff, and so it's difficult, and it can be very, you know, I don't know, intimidating is the right word, but it's like, I don't want to, there's definitely things that I've put out, and I'm like, oh, dude, that was the wrong, like, but, you know, my daughters and son will be like, God, you can't do this. You got to post it this way. I'm like, I don't know. But I think the only way to do it is, the only way to learn is, do you do it?
Yeah.
Yeah, you said it earlier.
You learn by doing, and you don't get attached to each singular piece being absolutely perfect, because it's here today and it's gone tomorrow. And every time that you do it and you put something out there, you learn something from that experience. And next time, it's going to be incrementally better, right?
Yep.
And that's what I mean by, like, you improve, you optimize, and then you iterate. So if you put out, like, here's a challenge for the viewer, for the listener, who's trying to get better at social media. If you put out a photo and a video every single day of the week for 2 weeks, you'll have 14 days, you know, almost 30 pieces of content out there that you can then go and look at your analytics and be like, okay, this was the top performing video, this was the top performing photo post, or, you know, this caption seemed to resonate and it got comments, whatever metrics you're tracking. Then you look at those two and you think about, okay, how can I do this again and again and again? How can I take this into the next couple weeks of creating content and try to do the same kind of thing that performed well? And then from those next 2 weeks of content, you'll pick the 2 best pieces. And that's how you improve, optimize, and iterate. That's how you get better and improve your chances of going viral or reaching a wider audience or increasing engagement, whatever your goals happen to be.
Photo, video, daily. I get
it. Yeah, and what's beautiful is, like, we get so attached to perfectionism and we get so critical of ourselves putting stuff out there. But like I said, it's here today and it's gone tomorrow. Like, social media is this moving marketing machine, especially with stories. I love stories to start out with because they disappear in 24 hours and nobody can ever find them again. So I have this no matter what challenge, speaking to camera for 30 days in a row in your stories, that I'm doing, and a couple people in my audience have been doing periodically. And it
is that just for women?
No, anybody can do it.
See, I was going to do that. I was like, dude, I'm going to do this challenge.
You can do it!
No, I was like, I don't want to be like the only dude.
No, absolutely. You can do it.
Okay, I'm going to, is it too late to start?
No.
I'm going to start right now.
It's never
or not
too late
right
to
now,
start.
but like tomorrow.
Yeah, amazing.
Speaking to the camera and what it's called.
It's the no matter what challenge.
No matter what.
Because the thing is, there's going to be days where you don't want to show up at all. And so this is what I tell people. Set the bar so low that you would feel stupid for not doing it. So the bar is like 5 seconds. All you have to do is get on there and be like, it's been a busy day, I've got a lot going on, but I'm here and I showed up and that's it. Bye. And other days, you can have something really profound and valuable to share. And that's great, but like, don't make that the bar. Because if the bar is, I have to show up and share something profound and life-changing,
right.
You're not going to do it, right?
Right. Because I don't know if I can come up with something profound in 30 days.
You might.
Maybe I can
might.
chat GPT something profound.
What I love about this challenge is it just gets you into the mindset of you're going about your day, you're having thoughts, you're having experiences, but you're continually in the mindset of, I'm going to make this, 5 to 60 second video at the end of my day. So what is something that I can talk about that has happened to me today that I feel like is going to be relevant and maybe even helpful to someone who sees that?
Yeah.
And it just puts you in this creative state of mind that is so amazing to be in and translates to all the other content that you could be creating for your business. That mindset shift alone is pretty profound.
Okay, good deal. We call this podcast called Life in Business, and we spell life just like we do at my business, LYFE. And you talked about it several times, but life stands for live your freedom every day. And that's what you had talked about that a little, earlier about, this whole idea of entrepreneurship. Really, a lot of people are willing to do it because it's of the freedom that's associated with it. And it's hard. The ceiling's really, really high, but the floor is really, really low. But there is that sense of freedom that, you're free to do the no matter what challenge every day.
Yeah.
And that can be part of your business. Whereas if you're going and punching a time clock or something, I guess you can do it on your own, but it's not like that can't be a driver for you. Mm-hmm. When you're an entrepreneur, you can decide what your drivers are. Yeah. Good or bad, it's your deal. So, two things. One, where can people get your book?
They can message me for it. I'm not actively promoting it because I'm moving into writing a new book. And
I don't want the book.
I'll send it to you. I'll send it to you for free. Don't worry. But I'm on Instagram as Michal Emily Schuster. I have a podcast on YouTube. It's called Creative Freedom Plan. I'm on Facebook as well, Michal Emily Schuster. And those are my 3 main platforms: Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. Instagram,
Facebook, and YouTube. Okay, Good deal. And let's see, there was 2 things, and we talked about a lot of things today. Is there anything that I didn't ask you that you would like to, I wish you would have asked me this, or I wish I would have talked about this?
I think we really covered it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, this isn't business related.
Okay.
So hopefully this isn't off bounds. But I'm going to, regardless if I get credit or not, I'm going to take a tiny bit of credit. I say that I am a connector, right?
Yes.
You probably know where I'm going with this, right?
I think I do.
Okay. I deserve a tiny bit of credit because I had a tiny bit to do with connecting you with this amazing dude that you've met.
Yes.
And so, because people are now, I guarantee people are watching this going, dude, so I wonder what happened if Michael ever recovered or whatever. But, just like real quick, so people kind of know what's going on. Talk to me about the event that I set up where it's not about me. I was just kidding you.
It's such a great story, though.
Yes.
I love it.
I want to hear the story.
You hired me.
Yes.
So that put me in the
true.
position to be working at LYFE. And LYFE does all of these after-hours events.
Yes.
Where anybody can rent out the space and, host parties or even speed dating events, which... Who knew that they did speed dating events in real life and not just in the movies?
I'd never seen one before.
I did not realize that these were a real thing, but they are, and one happened. And the other crazy part, I'm not sure if you really know about this part of the story, but the speed dating event happened on March 1st. I was working some of the after hours events, so I was on the schedule to work that speed dating event. Paul, my now boyfriend, the man I will marry and live out the rest of my days with, attended that speed dating event and didn't really connect with anyone during the speed dating, which worked out because he came back the next day with his cute golden retriever and sat in the coffee shop and read his book for a few hours, which gave me the perfect opportunity to go offer his dog a treat and say hello, and that just, got the ball rolling. But the crazy part of this is I had been invited to sail with some friends of mine across the Pacific and help them get their boat from Panama to French Polynesia, essentially. I would have been on the boat in the middle of the ocean for a month. My ticket, I was supposed to fly out March 1st. and I didn't end up going on because things happened and it just didn't end up being the right situation for me, and they found somebody else who was going to be a better fit. But yeah, the decisions that we make in life, it's so crazy to look back in hindsight and be like, wow, all of that had to happen to get me here.
Yeah, that's super cool.
And then I had the opportunity to summit Mount Rainier with Paul and his friends. And Dave gave me the training plan, which is you just go up Canfield Mountain here in town a couple times a week and you'll be good to go. And I did, and we did it, and it was epic.
Yeah, good deal. And here's the deal. That's a crazy trip, isn't it? Unforgettable. So I want to do that trip. I summited once, but I want to do it with both of my daughters. Like sometime in the next couple of years before, time runs out.
Kids and life and
them getting married, having kids,
right.
Me getting too old and whatever it is. But hey, I just want to say thank you so much for coming on. I enjoyed talking with you, catching up with you. And, for me, again, selfishly, I can learn stuff and write stuff, and now I'm getting a book. Come on. And if I don't get it, by the next week, I'm going to text you. Hey, Michael, remember when you said you were going to give me this book?
You'll get it. Don't worry.
Good deal. Well, hey, thank you so much for tuning in. And if you, go ahead and like this story, comment on this story, and or this podcast. And if you know someone that wants to see it, go ahead and send it out to people. I'm still learning how to, do this stuff properly. So if you can help me out by doing all the things that you know how to do, that would be awesome. Thank you so much, and I will see you next week. Bye-bye.
That was epic.